Hello, my Teaserking family. How is everybody today? As I said, I was busy in the morning. Nice quarter ounce gold, 550. He keeps it at 550. Like, thank you. And then silver, I was going to get like 20 ounces. I only got 10, the Buffaloes. It just seemed like this is like 550. This is a quarter ounce. It says quarter ounce somewhere. Well, I can't focus there, I think. Anyway, he normally doesn't have quarter ounces. So when he had quarter ounces, I got excited. So it was like, well, I can buy 20 ounces of silver, as I said yesterday, and it was 25.50 an ounce. It's like a joke. It's like filling up your car and the gas is 10 cents a gallon. So I'm gonna buy 20 times 250, and it's what? Well, 200, $500. And I said to myself, well, I can buy this for 550. And then I figured, okay, and then I'll get 10 more. Again, I'm not working, but that's, we got credit cards. So 550 and 250. So it cost 800. Jesus. Excuse me. I don't know what it is. I sit here and I sneeze. I don't sneeze the whole day. I was at the pool. I'm home. I don't sneeze. I sneeze. I don't know what it is. The dust on my computer, maybe. And let's wipe that off. Okay, so he had quite a bit of silver. Here, I'll show you. I took pictures. All right, so the first one. Hey, good John. I'm great. I went, so they're selling silver bullets, which I had to laugh at, but I don't know, people buy them. I mean, they're silver. I'd rather have a coin, but I don't see why a bullet, if it's so much silver and so much silver. So I kind of had a laugh there. So here was the gold. So he has an ounce down here, and he's got quarters, which I bought. I'm getting this bad flare. So these were quarters. Then these Maple Leafs are half ounce and an ounce. You can always tell by the size. It's funny, the quarter ounce American is almost the same size as the half ounce Maple Leaf. That's why you got to read what it is. This is a half ounce Eagle here. So it's half ounce Eagle, quarter ounce Eagle, half ounce Maple Leaf, full ounce Maple Leaf, full ounce Eagle, and then the 1/10 of an ounces. I don't know what this is, something else, and then little bars, and that's it. So that was his gold. So I took one of the quarters. And then here's what his silver looked like. And then he had the tray of silver, which he had a lot of, well, some buffaloes in it. So you can see, again, I don't know what the silver bullets mean. Anyway, that was my fun. I then show it to Daria, and then I show her what we got. I said, "This is the families." So we'll see when we meet. I don't want to harp on it too much. I said, "Well, so how about the middle of March, end of March? How's that?" She doesn't respond to it, but she probably doesn't know what to say. But after reading all the emojis, I'm sure she's serious about me. Why not? I got gold and silver. So if she is scamming me, she definitely want to meet for gold and silver. Not that that's not why Jenna meets me, but I do make it worth her while. So very happy there. So it was $25.50 an ounce of silver. You know, and it always is 1 troy ounce, $9.99. And so that's all I care about. It's in good condition. It's not scratched. The sides are fine. I've noticed where the sides are black, so I made sure that all my sides are nice and silvery and nothing good. So I took 10, and now I got 610, and then I got another quarter. Why can't I get this in focus? Where's this glare coming from? Maybe the light. Anyway, this is a 1/4 ounce. I seem to give 1/4 ounces out for like birthday gifts and stuff. Or if it's a friend and I want to give them some gold, I'll tend to give a 1/4 ounce, and then they can't really bitch. Who's going to bitch about gold? But it's not too much. I mean, I don't want to give out ounces and half ounces. That's a bit much. So that was my morning. I went there about 10:30. Showed them the Mark McGuire, which I'm going to show you a little bit of again. And I said, just watch. It's about to go. Brics is gone. Here it goes. Silver is about to go. Why don't you leave some in your vault or something? I'm going to leave 20 or 30 ounces for you so you can make money off of it. Because they're basically getting it in and then they're selling it. So I don't know how much they actually keep for themselves. So I'm like, I'm sure he buys it. So he wrote, he'll watch it. I don't mind helping him out. I'm not thinking, he's going to sell what he's going to sell it for. And, I got it for 25, so I help him. Like I said, a friend at work came in with $100,000 check. Said, give me $100,000 worth of gold. So there you go. And so it's much, much quicker now than it's been. So good times there. Then I went to the pool, and now I came home, and I was watching Egon. Egon had one that I stumbled on. It was a few weeks ago, and it's not a finance channel, but they want to get finance info. And he basically, in a nutshell, says, well, the dollar's 99% collapsed, and it's going out, and you got to preserve. So it's to preserve your wealth, buy gold. And then the question was, well, what if you're not rich? He says, well, everybody, don't buy a cup of coffee or cigarettes or something, and you can buy 1/10 of an ounce of gold. And, it's not that expensive to buy a little bit of it, and that'll protect you. He said something like in Venezuela, In 2000, they started inflating, and it was like $30. And he says now it's worth a ton in Venezuela. So he said it'll protect you, and you can, it's not like, yeah, there's the real rich guys who have $5 million and buy gold. It's just everybody, if they just save a little bit of money, can buy some gold. Even if you bought the quarter ounce for $5.50, if you saved up for this, it's gonna be huge for you. Or this, buy 4 ounces is $100. Who doesn't have $100? Come on, you're not. And when I talk to the lifeguards, it's like, come on, guys, you make money. You're probably living at home. Don't tell me you don't have money, but you want to keep fucking around with me, then don't buy it and then see what happens in 2 or 3 months. One guy who is a lifeguard comes to me, and I tell him, I said, I bought today $550 for my quarter ounce, so he's going to run and get it. He's in the gold and silver. And, another thing Egon said, which is what we said, is the people don't really make commission on it. So if you go to your financial advisor, broker, somebody at a bank, nobody's going to get commission on telling you to buy gold. So they don't. And this is the problem. So everybody buys stocks or bonds or annuities. Again, they don't get off the Titanic, which is paper. You got to get out of paper, right? But what do the investors tell you? They go buy paper, buy stock or real estate trust or annuity. So that's the problem right there. They don't make commission out of putting you in gold. So they don't. Maybe a little bit with the paper or derivative gold, which are the ETFs, but then you're fucked because you don't own the physical. And if you don't own the physical, you're fucked. You don't have anything. So really, you own the physical because they can't print it. The derivatives and all the paper they print, and it's basically inflated, and basically you don't own anything. And when the dollar goes out and you need you're going to need the physical. You're not going to need, when the dollar goes out, a derivative, an ETF's not going to help because it's in dollars. You need the physical. So he kind of brought that up a little bit. And overall, it's what we already know. This is protection. They do keep saying it's not the gold going up, the dollar going down, but the gold will go up. I mean, from that state, this is a quarter ounce of gold. It hasn't changed. Maybe he should put it that way. So this is still a quarter ounce of gold. If it's 1971 or now, this hasn't changed. What's changed is the dollar that's lost value. It's being inflated to nothing. But because it's suppressed, it'll go up in value because it's not at its true value, which is the part they don't seem to get. Poor Alligator and Egon, they have the right thought, but they miss the price fixing. So, again, he sees this going through the roof. Everybody who understands us knows it's going through the roof because of the dollar's collapse. And a lot of it is the debt. And he talks about you got 35 trillion in debt. You can't just write it off because you owe people. And then nobody will lend you, will take your money. So in other words, when you do a T-bill, the debt is like Germany buying your T-bills, and then you get money in to invest. And so the government can do this, that, and the other. And the problem is when you if you just don't pay it back, who's gonna borrow your money? Why would I borrow if I'm not going to get paid back? Or why would I lend if I'm not going to get paid back? So in effect, Germany is giving us, $1 billion, and we give them treasuries, which we're going to give them interest on and pay them back. But if you're not going to pay me back, why would I buy your treasuries? I'm not going to get paid back for it. So if you default, you'll never get anybody else to lend to you, and that's the real problem with it. Plus, you owe them now. You owe all these countries who gave you, who bought your T-bills. You owe them that and the principal and the interest back. So it's not like you can just not pay it. Problem is, you can't get out of it, because if you print more money, it makes the money worth even less. And the only see, you have to have gold to back it. That's the only hope you have, is gold backing your dollars, and then you raise the price of the gold. But the U.S. is too stupid right now. You've got such stupid people running it. It's just unbelievable. Anyway, so I wish Daria a happy birthday. She said, my birthday's tomorrow. I said, but I'm used to when I was still married, we would have a whole birthday weekend. So Saturday we'd have a cake, and and then we'd have it the next day. We'd get ribs, and we'd eat it both days. And so I said, no, we're going to have a weekend of birthdays, and mine's next week, the 7th, a week and a half. Well, hers is tomorrow, mine's the 7th, like 10 days away. And I said, we'll celebrate. We'll have birthday weekends. She liked that. So she says, it's tomorrow. I says, I know it's tomorrow. No, but you wish happy birthday whenever, right? You wish it today. I'll wish it to her tomorrow also. And that was the last thing Egon said. The gold's good and the silver's good, but it's the family and having friends. That's really what life is. And now he's talking stoic, and that's what stoic is, to have good friends, but not amount of friends, just good friends. So he said, and that's what I'm trying to do is I kind of say, this is ours. This is for us, the gold and the silver. This is like the families. I'll control it, of course, but if she needs something, then boom, you have this. And this will be critical. So what else? So let's listen to Mark McGuire a little bit more about yesterday. COMEX blowing up and silver going to the moon. So let's just replay this, because again, it was 4 hours yesterday, and finding Mark McGuire and everything. So let's start right from the beginning. Mark McGuire.
6 Bitcoin ETFs just a month ago, we've noted an actionable pivot point develop. And this is really right on the front burner. And this particularly came to light following our first-year liquidity provider meetings over the last 2 weeks, since our last episode, this is, especially over the last 7 days, where it has become clear that an unprecedented dynamic is now in play, influencing the whole structure of the synthetic gold market. Now, this presents us a huge opportunity window, and this is why spending a bit of time talking about it so you can make your own decisions. Now, connecting the dots into a record over 1 trillion Bitcoin market capitalization now, of which over 20% of which was added in last week alone, commodity trading advisors have dumped in excess of 3 billion of gold ETFs into an over 4 billion stampede. I think it's closer to 5 billion stampede into the Bitcoin ETFs. Now, this helps explain the really strange counterintuitive sideways action when gold, that we know gold, has been in such strong geopolitically driven demand. Now, given the CTAs are the recipients of around 75% of all the COMEX gold open interest that segues into these ETF open interest level numbers, and which was, don't forget, we had Bloomberg attested to this. Remember, they noted the same group of specs control similar concentration in the oil markets. So we're talking about 75, possibly 80%. This FOMO-driven hot money rotation of COMEX gold market open interest into Bitcoin has, at the margin, changed the COMEX operating dynamics. Yet, so far, this has largely flown under the radar. And there are two very good reasons. Firstly, this exit of synthetic gold open interest into the Bitcoin ETFs is very good news for the officially intervened COMEX gold market. So let's dig into that. Firstly, this FOMO frenzy to fund this Bitcoin ETF and to get a piece of the action is evidencing an auditable outflow of a large swathe of, don't forget, 96% leveraged paper market COMEX supply, which incrementally reduces the bandwidth for officials to add and remove sufficient conjured up supply that is needed to lead an ever decreasing pack of led by the nose momentum CTAs, which they need to gain enough traction to really effectively intervene in the officially sanctioned COMEX-centric gold to dollar price setting process. Now, to put the implications of this outflow of open interest into context, as we highlighted in our last episode, we brought attention to the fact that at its peak in 2020, close to 800,000 lots of open interest of chips were floating around, loaned by the house to the speculators, and that represented about 80 million ounces, 2,500 tons, if you remember, but 96% unbacked paper gold warrants, pieces of paper that were made available to be traded every day. You only needed 4% to actually trade that kind of volume. And that represented all of the new gold mined every year being issued and controlled by the casino every single day. However, fast forward since our last episode, as of yesterday, well, actually, as of Friday, we're recording this episode on Wednesday ahead of FOMC minutes tonight. Under 407,000 lots of open interest of chips remain in play. That's plus or minus 40 million ounces, not the 80 million ounces. And that really meaning very close to half of all the COMEX gold speculators have bailed out for one reason or another, and liquidity providers report this notably accelerated following the Bitcoin ETF launch. So
our first thing is that's what blows up COMEX. So COMEX is running out of gold and silver, running into Bitcoin. We couldn't be happier. Bitcoin's not money. That'd be like running into baseball cards. I mean, fine, they can run in and manipulate the price all they want in baseball cards. Who gives a shit? But our gold and silver now will not be manipulated as much. A lot of it's running out because they know India and China and Russia are buying all the gold, and the central banks are buying all the gold and silver off of COMEX at these cheap prices. So they realize when they do a short and they're saying, I'm shorting silver at 25. So if it goes over 25, they're fucked. And then it comes back down to 24, 23 because it's manipulated. They realize that it's not going to come back down. And once they realize that, they're getting out of the COMEX and they're running to Bitcoin, and then they'll control the Bitcoin. I don't know, again, how the price is. I'll dig up a little. How do you value Bitcoin? I don't know if it's free market supply and demand, and I don't know how you measure free market supply and demand on Bitcoin. Is there a trigger? Oh, somebody bought, a million Bitcoins and therefore the price goes up. I mean, I don't even know how you capture that. I don't know who's controlling that. That's the problem with it. I know I can run an auction and say, how much will you give me for Mahomes? And you're going to give me, I'll give you $5,000 for it. And I go, okay, fine. That's the market. That's the supply and demand. That's your price. Mahomes is worth $5,000 because somebody bought it. I don't know how you do it with Bitcoin because Bitcoin's at what, 50,000? So we buy a coin. What's it at? 50,000. How does it go to 51? So this is the thing. Another thing Egon said is, well, I'll take you to Egon about this one, but the question was asked about, well, is there enough gold for everybody who wants it? And the answer was no. And then, so what'll happen is the price will go through the roof, because the more people want it than there is supply, price goes up, which we've talked about that, but I'll let you hear it from the elephant's mouth himself. So that's critical for us. We get rid of price fixing COMEX. Even then, it's still 2,000 an ounce, even being price fixed, because they're getting, like you said, half of the dealers who are fixing it are gone. They're all running into Bitcoin. Well, the guys left aren't going to stay in it. You know, let's say there's 5 guys left. Well, they're not really going to be able to control the market. So if half the guys left for Bitcoin, the other half are soon to follow. And so that's great news for us, is Bitcoin being blown up, or at least pretty much blown up. Let's see. So let's listen a little bit more.
Secondly, and even more importantly, given the remaining inflows and outflows of COMEX interest, open interest are indirectly interchangeable with the gold ETFs, this is where it gets really interesting. Many institutional CTAs do not have a mandate to directly trade gold, or even for that matter, in many instances, gold futures, with the majority of this group really restricted to trading ETF shares so as to gain exposure to gold, silver, oil, etc. Now we see this fickle group of traders controlling, as I say, around 75% of all gold, silver, open interest, switching horses into trading the ETF shares of Bitcoin. Now, this outflow of gold market open interest into dollar competing Bitcoin, and don't clock this, dollar competing Bitcoin, is drawing the unwanted attention of officials who for the last over 50 years have been actively intervening in the FX gold markets against the dollar and using the bandwidth generated by these captive, useful CTA fools operating in the siloed casino wars to add sufficient gold supply to slow down the naturally rising gold price against the debasing dollar, to create enough synthetic flywheel, basically. Now, this switch of official focus is not yet realized by gold market technical analysts, relying on historically anchored price extensions, which I continue to see them trying to extrapolate.
If you care about protecting your hard-earned money, I urge you to stop whatever you're doing right now and listen.
Anchored price extensions, which I continue to see them trying to extrapolate.
Now, Andrew, you had just mentioned here that the Fed started intervening in the gold markets. I'm thinking some 50 plus years ago.
All right, so we don't care about that.
On, and he was
okay. So basically, it's saying is there's less attention to gold, and as they buy it, the Chinese, the Indians, the BRICS, and everybody else, and us. See, they don't think anybody here buys gold. It's hysterical. I'm at the gold store. There's people buying it. The owners saying, yeah, they come in, they're buying it all. So I don't know. There's a lot of people buying gold at the gold store. It's just under the radar. Nobody knows I just bought 10 ounces of silver. Nobody knows I just bought a quarter ounce of gold. Now, I'm not buying a James Bond bar. What are they, 100 ounce or 500 ounce or whatever they are? He had a big ounce of silver. He said it was 1,000 ounce bar of silver, but it was bigger than the gold bars. So let's say it's 500 ounce. I ain't buying. I don't have that kind of money. But that's really, we go right under the radar. Nobody knows. So it's not going to push the price up or down. If I bought 10 ounces of silver, the price doesn't go anywhere. But the price is controlled by COMEX. It's not a free market price like the Mahomes card. And the same with gold, but we take advantage of it. If it's going to be this cheap, it's on sale. I'm telling you, once it hits, once it gets going, it's gone. All right. And once it's gone, you're not going to see it again. All right, let's talk silver.
Fired up too, but I can't wait for you to share this news with our community.
Yeah, Shane. I saved it the last. This is mega. I mean, mega. And you may have noticed that although somewhat synthetically subdued, the same actor's footprints in silver really has evidence silver leading the way higher for gold. And this is because gold rising against the dollar has been the official's intervention focus. But the necessary, as we say, the necessary CTA open interest required to offset EFB outflows are getting very close to being tapped out. So yes, Shane, on to silver. Silver, my friend, outside of the rigged casino bubble, we are now absolutely certain that that silver is coiling for an extremely a very large move, and the CTA-driven dips in silver are going to be jumped on by the pit managers. Now, we talked about massive Indian silver demand in our last few episodes, but what happened over the last few days is a doozy. This week, silver wholesale demand has reached unprecedented wholesale demand levels, and the dot-chasing CTA, useful fools, have not cottoned onto it yet. I can see that going on now. And this is mind-blowing stuff. But here's the fact. European refiners have all forward production sold out at the moment. And I'm talking about wholesale supply, wholesale bar prices. And it's all sold out at spot prices. And they're searching for more supply from any source they can. And we're all getting phone calls from refineries for any size. So strong is the Indian demand that they now could readily absorb over 2,000 tons at spot prices, which will not be possible to find at current spot prices. That is how strong it is. As the last refiner said to us this morning, if I could fill 2,000 tons now. And in an attempt to play defense, the so-called LBMA London professional trade, remember we looked at them, how these guys operate. We did a whole episode pretty much on these guys. They're refusing to deliver wholesale bars. They have the bullion. They refuse to deliver these wholesale bars in any size at current prices, leaving every other known source dry. Now, they'll make sure as Samsung, Apple, etc., Kia and these guys get their silver. But that is purely to avoid a race for everyone to come after the same amount of irretrievable bullion at this point. What it would do is they would come in and they don't care about spot. They would just pay whatever it costs to get that assembly line running. So bottom line, silver looks ready to make a very, very strong move higher. This is unprecedented. And so what timing on it? Well, I mean, we have options. We have got FOMC today. So there's always some gaming. Maybe we see this rally after options expiry next Monday, or for first delivery notice a couple of days later, or even rollover and delivery at the end of the month. And then, of course, because then the contract then rolls over to the Bay contract. I have a strong feeling that there's going to be so much demand, they're going to be coming into the COMEX and say, this is the only source of where it's the only source of where you can actually take delivery of physical bullion. And of course they're going to do this. And insiders are going to be forced, though, to ring the register on the CTAs who've been lured into betting against silver above 23. And they've been lured into selling it above 24. And they have massive bets they've made against 25. I'd say, Shane, watch out above, my friend. Now we've actually also evidenced the SLV ETF, the silver ETF, being now turned upon, tapped on for supply. Well, you know where this is leading, guys. There's only one question. How much physical gold and silver do you own?
So, based on what he's saying, this is why I ran out and bought 10 ounces of silver today. Would have been 20, but I can't resist buying my gold. So I'd rather have this at 550 than buy 550 worth of this. It just, because I have a lot of silver it just makes, I'll buy a little bit more, but I can't have enough of this. This you can't have enough of. So I bought more, but I did want to buy some silver. So based on that last comment, the demand's huge and they don't want to sell it at spot. They are starting to realize, as I've been saying for 2 years, that the spot is much, much too low. So now they're going, shit, why should I, like me, if he asked me to sell this, I wouldn't sell it for 25. You want to buy it from me? 250. I don't need to sell it. I ain't going to sell it at 25. And so when I give it to Jenna or when I'll give it to Daria, I'll say, we don't sell it at 25. I'll tell you when to sell it. But right now, I don't want you to sell it at 25. It's going to be much more value. And I've told that to anybody I've given the silver for. Don't sell it now. Wait till it hits, 200-300 if you need to sell it at that point on its way to 2,000. That's what we're at. That's the target. So if you don't need to sell it, do not sell it. But once it hits, the frenzy is going to happen. Okay, so I wanted to just replay Mark McGuire, and now we're going to look at.
Hello, everyone. I'm Zara.
Hi, Zara. All right. So this is Egon doing on this channel, which is weird. It's a collapse life channel. Just something different. But we're there for Egon. Egon's the man. So in this, Egon talks about wealth preservation. And then he talks about gold's not renewable. I believe this is the section. And he's going to say, well, yeah, there's not enough. And guess what? If the demand's there, that's normal Austrian economics. If the demand for this card is 1,000 and there's only 50, the price goes up. And that's what he's saying in gold. There's not enough gold. Guess what? The price goes up. So let me see if I can get to that part. I just watched it.
Well, both from the point of view financial and even riots, wars, etc. So that this transitional period will be very, very difficult.
Right. Yeah. And one of the shifts that's happening that you just mentioned is that central banks are getting off the dollar standard and buying up more and more gold at the same time that individuals, on the advice of organizations like yours, are also looking to preserve their wealth by buying gold. So one question that I had for you is, we know that gold is not a renewable resource. There's a finite amount of gold. And as more countries there's more competition for buying up the existing supply. Is there actually a point at which we run out of gold where gold is not available to buy as wealth preservation?
Yeah, and the important question. First of all, central banks, you're right, central banks are buying gold today, but not Western central banks. They haven't bought for a long, long time. Most Western central banks sold a big part, half of their gold or more around 2000. And they're still not buying. They don't understand gold, and they are okay. Western central banks still have some holdings, but even that is questionable. I'm not sure that the US, for example, has the 8,000 tons that it says it has, because it hasn't been a proper audit, physical audit of the US gold since Eisenhower's days. So it's questionable if, they say that they have it, but they also, because the definition of having it is that if they lend it to somebody, which they do, they still call it their gold. But what is happening now is that the US lends to a bullion bank. A bullion bank is a bank dealing in gold, all the major investment banks, for example, do. And then that bullion bank sells that physical gold to China, for example, because China and India are the biggest buyers of gold today. So the gold is lent by the say the Fed, or central bank or the U.S. government, to a bullion bank. The bullion bank transfers to China, and all the central bank has from the bullion bank is a piece of paper saying we owe you that much gold, physical gold. But the Fed or the U.S. government counts this as real gold, but it's never going to come back. So so what I'm saying is there is buying today of gold in a major way by Eastern central banks or BRICS central banks, I should say. But the Westerners are not buying at all, and the public is only buying to a very small amount. Generally, the level of ownership of physical gold today among the public is not more than 0.5% of world financial assets, and that includes gold mining companies. Wow. So people have not yet realized that gold is an asset that they should hold, and in spite of the fact that you take in this century, in the last 23 plus years, gold is basically the best performing assets of all assets in the world, of all major asset classes. But in spite of that, people haven't really understood that they need that for wealth preservation. That's for the simple reason that banks, asset managers, etc., they don't recommend gold to people. They want to churn commission. They want to buy and sell stocks and bonds and derivatives, etc. They're not interested in selling them gold. That's just going to lie there and they don't earn money on. And if they do sell them gold, they rather sell them a form of derivative gold, like an ETF or paper gold, which is, of course, nothing to do with wealth preservation either, because that paper gold, when the problems start in the world, there is no chance whatsoever that paper gold, which is in some future exchanges, for example, they're talking about being 100 times the physical gold available.
Right.
So there isn't enough gold in the world. We cannot produce more than about 3,000, bit over 3,000 tons a year, plus scrap gold, etc. And so there is no, if demand increases, which I'm absolutely convinced it will because of all the problems that we are talking about here, then more gold cannot be produced. But at the same time, there will be massive demand for gold from institutions, from pension funds, and from individuals also. Mm-hmm. So the only way to satisfy that increased demand is not by more quantity of gold, but by having gold at a higher price. So this, if people want to buy, let's say $100,000 worth of gold, now they might get half of that in a few years' time, half of the quantity they will get today, because the price is going to double or more. Now, wealth preservation, you ask what wealth preservation in the form of physical gold, it's not just for the wealthy, it's for everyone. It's just that our company deals with the high net worth individuals that we have.
So gold will be much, much higher because there's not enough gold for demand. Therefore, price of gold goes up. And if you have it now, then you're the one who gains. So in other words, I just paid $550 for this. As the demand, as pension funds, as everybody else strolls into the market because they've been duped into believing that they're in stocks or in the dollar, as they've been duped, I'm going to try to get this online. Where is this coming from? I think you can see quarter ounce there. It says I think it says quarter ounce $5. Oh, wait. There it is. Yeah, if you got the right quarter ounce fine gold, $10 is what it says. You got to get the right angle, and then you can see it. Now I get to play with my gold when I'm done and my silver. Yeah, I had 37 ounces of Highland Mint silver, and I was like, oh, I got enough silver. And as I started learning and being stoic and asking questions, I now got 610 ounces, which includes the Highland Mint. And the Highland Mint's all worth more because it's Michael Jordan and Kobe and Frank Thomas and Marino and Emmett and Montana, Bobby Orr. And so you get $75, $80 an ounce for a coin now. Well, when silver goes to the roof, imagine what those coins are going to be. So that was probably the best thing I got besides the Mantle cards and the Montana rookie and stuff like that, is these silver things. And the thing is, they did have gold coin cards. They would have gold and silver. I got the bronze cards because they were a little bit. I think it was $500 for a Michael Jordan gold card, right? And so it was, I think it was an ounce of gold. And you're like, oh, fuck, that would have been worth a fortune. On eBay, if there are, if you have the older gold, like the beginning, they're in Roman numerals. And I think I have one. I'm not sure because I had it when I first started. I picked up a little bit of gold when I got this. And I think they were Roman numerals, and apparently they're worth a little bit more. I didn't buy it because of that. I bought it for the gold, but it was Roman numeral. And then there seems, if they're proof, they're worth more. But I wouldn't waste my money getting a proof one because you got to pay more for it, right? So I'm happy like this. I don't need it proof. As long as I got this, I got a quarter ounce of gold. That's what I want. I don't need it to be proof. Pay more for it because I don't know that I'm going to get the benefit, and I don't need the benefit because I'm going to get the benefit on the coin itself. So let's see. So I saw that on eBay yesterday. These are going for 31, 32, and I picked them up for 25. This was going for 575, so I picked it up for 550 at my guy's store. See, he's pretty consistent. 550 he wants on this, really, no matter where the spot is. And the same thing with the 1/10 ounce, he wants 250, but they're not, but you can get the Maple Leafs for 230. So it was tempting to buy the Maple Leaf for 230, the 10 ounce, that 1/10 with the silver. And that's when I said, no, I'll buy the quarter ounce and for 550 because the quarter, the 2/10 of an ounce would be 500. So, and then divide it, it's another 1 1/4. It's 6 1/4. This is 550. So it's just far worth it if I'm going to buy a little bit of gold. But it's hard to get more silver, even though we know it's going up. Just because if I get the job, I'll buy a little bit more. But again, transporting it gets a little difficult. So you kind of want to be able to that. Am I having Chinese? I don't think so. My days turned around because the reason I get Chinese Saturdays, they're closed Sunday. And I normally do the class first, but because I wanted to get gold and silver, running to the store, I went and got this. They're open from 10 to 3. I was a little concerned, like now it's 2:46, but I started earlier. So because of that, I would normally teach at 11 because we have football at 12. And then I would go swimming at like 2:00. Or I'd pick up the coins, at 2:00, go swimming, and then go get the Chinese. It's on the way. So I don't think I'll get it today. And I was yelling at the lady anyway about the hot mustard, where she's charging me $1 which is not the point. It's the point of you're charging me without telling me you're charging me. So I kind of, and I was giving her a tip on top of it. So I'm getting the bill. She's charging me for the hot mustard $1, and then I'm giving her a tip. And, I was very pissed. I'm like, you're charging for the mustard, but you're not telling me. So last time I went, I was pretty pissed at her. And I said, no hot mustard. And so I didn't get hot mustard, and I didn't give her a tip. So I'm kind of letting some time run off there. But if I want chicken today, I can go to the store and get some chicken. But I got hamburger to make. It's funny. I went into my freezer to pull out a steak, and it was 2 pounds of steak. I go, oh, that's a big steak. It was a roast. So now I'm cooking a roast the other day, thinking I'm going to have a steak. And so there's a lot of like 2.5 pounds that I'm not sure, is it 2 steaks or is it a roast? So anyway, I cooked that. So I got hamburger that I will make, I think, and cook that up. And so I gave Daria $100 for her birthday, and she said, oh, I'm going to go buy some nice stuff, nice food. And she's good about it. She shows me like what she's cooking, and we share that. So this way she can enjoy her birthday. She enjoyed the flowers for Valentine's Day. It's been a big couple of weeks between Valentine's Day and her birthday and everything. Now I know she's not going to get me anything. She doesn't have any money. So it's not like she'll send me, but I don't care. Just give me a picture or something. So no Chinese. Like I said, I'll cook hamburger. I got salad. I got some chicken that I'll make when the hamburger runs out. That's the problem with all the cooking. I'm cooking hamburger, or cooking a roast, I'm cooking chicken, 2 or 3 days, and then I got to cook some more. It's funny how life, it's just the same thing. What are you doing today? I'm cooking. I'm cooking, I'm swimming, I'm doing class. And it's just, life's so repetitive. God, it's crazy. I went to the coin store. That was a big highlight, and I haven't been playing poker because I've had no desire to. I'd rather do what I did today and spend, $800 on gold and silver than go play poker where I might lose 800 or 500 or whatever. Anyway, so that's what Egon was talking about. He brings up the Venezuela example where if you would have just bought gold in Venezuela, they've killed their money with the hyperinflation, and the gold in Venezuela is worth quite a bit more. But we'll see that here when the dollar goes out. We'll see how the gold really flies. But again, we want to get it. I want you to buy it now because, as you just said, when the supply runs out and the demand's still there, so people want it, but it's a limited supply. It's 250,000 tons, which you say, well, that's a lot, but a lot of people a lot of banks will buy the tons, and China 60,000 tons, and Russia 40,000. See, they know what's going on, or 30,000 for Russia. They know what's going on, and they're buying as much so they're just printing their money to buy. So you think their economy's fault? No, we got all this gold. That's where the gold standard BRICS currency, Russia ruble, that's where it's coming. That's what they're doing, and then they're going to say, okay, we're out of money now. Let's start using our gold. I think they're afraid the U.S. might do something because they don't like when people go on the gold standard. So what they've been doing is saying, well, we'll wait till you blow yourself up, and then we'll go on the gold standard. Because you sanction Russia, Russia doesn't really give a shit. And you're at war with Russia about the gold standard, and Russia's winning. So there's nothing you can do to really stop Russia from gold standing. And then BRICS will gold stand, and you've got 10 countries now and another 35 that want to join. So what are you going to do? Nuke the whole world because of the gold standard? I mean, that'd be ridiculous. You'd be nuking yourself. So that's what's happening. So they're just waiting for the U.S. to collapse, and the U.S. is doing a good job collapsing. So again, we buy gold to save the because you can't trust the dollar, right? This is worthless. You can't trust it, so you get out of it. Where do I go? Well, you don't go into stocks, you don't go into bonds, you don't go into real estate, you don't go into banks, because it's all paper. And as I've explained in the Titanic tape, all this is Titanic. All the paper, the stocks, the bonds, the banks are all part of the Ponzi scheme and all part of paper. And you get out of the whole system and you get into this, you get into my boys, the gold and silver boys. This is not in the system. This doesn't sink. This can hit an iceberg and nothing's going to happen. This is where you go. So why? Because you can't print this. This cannot be printed. You can't inflate gold and silver. It comes out of the ground and that's it. You can make this little coin with silver, but you only have so much silver. Gold, you have even less, and you've minted most of it. And even if they find it, it's not a big deal. Oh, they found sunken treasure. It's part of the 250,000 tons because nobody really knows where it all is. You only know that's what's been made. So if there's a finding where we found a ship or we dug up somebody and we found all these gold sets, that's part of the 255,000 tons. Because nobody really, there's no count in it. Okay, we know China and Russia have approximately like 100,000 tons together, and the central banks are buying, how much are they buying? 10 tons? I mean, 20, let's say they buy 25, well, probably more, let's say they buy 2,500 tons, let's say 5,000 tons they're buying each. All the BRICS, Hong Kong, Singapore, Japan, the BRICS countries. So Argentina, Brazil, they're all buying, Saudi Arabia, Dubai, all the African countries, they're all buying gold. And so that's, let's just say it's 5,000 tons for all these countries. So that's another, let's say 100. There's 20 countries at least. At 5,000 is 100,000 more tons added to the hundreds, 200,000 tons. There's only 50,000 tons left. Now, for me and you, I bought a quarter ounce. I bought 10 ounces of silver. I can't afford a ton of gold, 32,000 ounces, but the banks do. And then so it's slowly getting out. But me and you can sneak in and buy a quarter ounce and a half ounce and an ounce here, there, and everywhere. And we can buy that. And we're just waiting. So we're just kind of sneaking in, paid $5.50 for it at 2,000 an ounce. When it hits 10,000 an ounce, what is this? This goes to 2,500, right? All of a sudden I paid 500, goes to 2,500. And then my ounces go from 2,000 to 10,000. So my tenth of an ounces go from $200 to 1/10 will be $1,000 if it's 10,000. Yeah, they go to 1,000. Not bad for $250. That my silver, who knows where they're going. I think 2,000 an ounce, but I think they'll go to 250 first. They'll go like 50, 100, 250, 500, and then they're just going to go. And that's what I'm saying. It's you can't. It's like how I explained New England. You have the Tom Brady trends. Take them as a dog. They're a good home team. Or the Joe Montana trends. But when they're gone, you can't look at the same trend. So you can't look at New England's trend when Brady's not there. He's not there. So Matt Jones, he sucks. So you have to, this is the problem I'm having with trend analysis in football, is there's so many changes between the coach and the quarterback. Look at Green Bay. Okay, Aaron Rodgers, he's gone. Now there's Love. Well, I can't use the Aaron Rodgers trends. And what I'm driving at is, so silver, you're going to tell me, well, it's never been $50. $50 an ounce has been the high. That's derivative paper, not physical. Okay, so you can't fathom it'll go to 100. But we don't have Tom Brady there anymore. So you can't look at the Tom Brady, never been 50 an ounce before. Now it's a whole new world now. And if COMEX is blowing up and Brics is coming in, now we have a whole new trends to look at. And you can't look at the Brady trends. And what I get and piss off about with these guys, all these idiots, Sheckman and Maloney and all these guys, Shift, they talk about, oh, look what happened in 2008. It went up to 35 or whatever. Well, that's totally irrelevant. That has nothing to do with this, because now that Brady's gone, you can't look at New England and say, well, look in 2008 what happened. So you can't look at silver being high of $50, so therefore I don't want to get into it. You can't look at the same trend. So you have to get out of that and say, what do I think it's going to be? And based on COMEX blowing up and the Brics, who are buying as much gold and silver as they can, and China and India buying like it's hotcakes, you can't look at it and say that. And now COMEX has been holding it down, is now running the Bitcoin. So there's nobody guarding gold and silver. So you think $50 is the high? Do you think that's supply demand high or COMEX price fixing high? Paper, derivative, ETF. See, all that is gone. Now they're all running the Bitcoin because they realize you got China, India, and Russia buying all the gold and silver. They can't stop them. And especially at these low prices and with the Basel 1 or Basel 3, whatever the hell it is, because you have to have the physical when you do the derivative. There's not that much left. Okay, let's say there's 40 million ounces left. That's ounces. So how many tons is that? Not a lot. 32,000, so 400 million, 32,000 is what, maybe 100 tons or whatever. So there's not a lot of tons left of silver or of gold and silver. So that'll be eaten up pretty quickly. So they realize we don't want to be shorting because then we lost control of it. And so they get out of the shortage to hold it down. Now the demand from the suppliers driving it up, and China and Russia driving it up, and India's huge. We know Saudi Arabia, they got oil. All the oil countries in the Middle East are going to buy gold and silver, and China, and then the African countries are all Zimbabwe and Ghana has a ton of it, and just all the African and Middle East countries are going to be buying gold and silver like no tomorrow. They got all the money from oil, right? And so what you have is the demand is so big they won't be able to hold the price down, and they realize it. So all the COMEX guys, as Mark McGuire said, half of them have left the game, and they're all going to the Bitcoin game. Bitcoin, I don't know, is that going to be easier to control? You really won't know, but that's what they're going to do, is they're going to print, they're going to make 21 million look like 5. I mean, they're going to print all these derivatives. So it's going to be paper Bitcoin. And we know what happens when it's paper Bitcoin and it's not market. The price will go down and down and down. They'll control the price at 10, 15,000, maybe 20. You'll never see 100,000. And now that it's controlled, we see what happened in gold and silver. There's far less gold and silver than Bitcoin. There's 250,000 tons versus 21 million. So, yeah, I mean, you can call it ounces, tons are different, but still 21 million Bitcoins that nobody sells. Nobody sells Bitcoins, right? They all buy it because they think it's going to go up. That's not really why we're buying gold and silver. Gold and silver we're buying because the dollar's going to zero. So we know this is going out. So we're buying gold and silver to take our 500,000 out of the bank and buy it in this and protect ours. Now I got 500,000 in this. That's why I'm buying gold and silver. And I know it's not going anywhere because you can't print it. Bitcoin, I'm not too sure you can't print. I'm not too sure because the guy said 21 million. Like I said, Mahomes, we know there's 50 because it says 50, right? So we know that with Mahomes. We don't really know how much gold's out there, but we don't think that much. But Bitcoin, you're saying 21 million, prove it. You don't even have anything to hold. You don't have anything physical in the Bitcoin. So let the guys go to Bitcoin. It's not money anyway, so we don't care. Gold and silver is money. And the way I imagine it, the fiat money will be gone. There won't be any confidence in it. It's clear everything's going gold and silver, right? The Saudis, all the Middle East, all the African nations are going to gold and silver. So central banks buying it, it's just going to dry up. And who knows how much is even left. I mean, we're saying we're saying Russia, China have 100,000. There already might be the other 100,000 might already be gone. And then the central banks are eating it up. So that leaves us to eat a little bit. We can find a couple ounces here and there. I showed you my guy's story. He had 1 ounce. He had a quarter ounce, couple quarter ounces. He had 2 half-ounce Canadians and a 1 ounce Canadian. He's got 10 ounces. I mean, he doesn't have a lot. He's got silver, but that's cheaper. But he's got a lot of silver. But again, maybe he's got 100 ounces of silver. But anyway, that's where we're at with that. So it's much more plausible to have the gold and silver because it is real money. And, the barter, how is gold and silver barter? It's actual money. It's not barter. The Canadian Club, this is more barter than that, right? I'm going to sell you this. It's worth $50. And then I don't know what's going to happen at the grocery stores, how they're going to come up with new prices. What's their cost going to be? So what's it going to cost to make a car? You've got it all priced in dollars. Now you got to somehow come up with prices in gold or silver, enough that if you made profit on a car. So what do I got to sell the car for? Depends on what it costs me. So good luck figuring that out. That's why Bitcoin will never be, because the price isn't stable. You can make a price in gold and silver. Okay, this is going to be 10,000 an ounce or 20,000 an ounce. And this is going to be free market, and it'll get to 5,000 an ounce, or whatever gold is, it'll be 1/10. And it's, like I said, it's very limited, but nobody will. I give somebody this, they all know it's silver. They're all happy to get it. Jenna, not a problem. Daria, the gal at the club, Julia, I gave her 10 ounces. Happy birthday. She knew what it was. She loves it. It's safe. It's in her safe. Because she was telling me I don't have any money, and I said, well, I'm not going to let you starve. Here's 10 ounces. Happy birthday. And I'm fine. I don't care about that. That's being stoic, and that's what Egon's talking about. Is the best thing is your family and your friends, not the gold. It's a lot easier to have family and friends if you have the gold and silver. Versus being broke and then having family and friends that you watch because you can't feed them because you don't have gold and silver. So it kind of goes hand in hand. I can take care of the girls with the gold and silver. That's why I tell them I can only give you a little because I need the money to buy. Like today, I have $800, but I needed the money to buy it, right? So you'll get the money after the fact. So right now, let me buy, and then when everything goes up, then here you go, and we'll be fine. But we got to get out of the dollars. So that's what we're at with that. What was I going to say? Anything else from Egon? Well, he talks about U.S. debt, and he says that you gotta pay it back, and then nobody will want it. Nobody's going to trust America because we can't just wipe it out, right? So this is what it's the same thing we've talked about. So you got 35 million in debt, a trillion in debt. You can't just say, well, let's forget about it. No, because you owe people. And if you do that, nobody's going to lend you money because they know they're not going to get paid back. So that's the problem with it. And you can't pay it off. So there goes the dollar. Nobody will want to do business with you. If I lent you, if I lent you $100 and you didn't pay me back, I'm not going to lend you another 100. And I'm going to tell everybody don't lend to Joe Blow and because he's not going to pay you back. So people realize if America Welshes, they won't be able to sell any of their treasuries to get debt. And that's what they're doing. So they print all these treasuries, which are IOUs. And so you buy 1 million of them and then it's okay, I owe you $1 million. I'll give you interest on these bonds, but I need money. So that's what they create the bonds for. And that's what the 34 or 35 trillion is. It's the T-bills. So as you realize you're not getting paid back, you're not about to do it, and nobody's buying them anymore, and they're just trying to get their money back. And then that's what's going to trigger what I've been telling you is the stock market crash, the house market crash, the banks crash, because once they realize, oh shit, nobody wants to buy the T-bills, there must be a problem with the dollar. I'm getting out of the dollar, and all this $130 trillion that's out overseas of the U.S. is going to start. It's going to start coming back home. I don't want the dollar right now. It's safe haven. I got my money in dollars, and as they realize the dollars are worthless, they're going to start selling their assets out of the dollars and bringing it back into whatever euros. Saudi money, Dubai money, German, Japanese, African, whatever it is, they're going to get their money back. And then here comes, they can put it in gold. Oh my God. And they're going to put it in gold. I don't care what you are. How do you not know anything about gold? That's why I'm so shocked about the Bitcoin is the young people who kind of want to do their own thing, right? I'll buy gold. No, I'm going to buy Bitcoin instead. I'll show you. I think that's their whole mentality. They don't really like the older people for some reason. I don't know where they're getting that from. And so they're going to say, I'm going to buy Bitcoin and show you. I'm going to make my million in Bitcoin because gold and silver doesn't go up. Well, wait till gold and silver starts moving now because of the shift from COMEX to Bitcoin. Now they're going to go, fuck, mine isn't. Oh, look at gold, those 10,000. Oh, silver's up to 1,000 an ounce. And that's what's happening, but they don't know it. They're still looking at the Brady's, New England with Brady versus New England without. So that's really the problem. People have to identify what's going on. So I don't look at the Tom Brady trends for New England. I have to have Matt Jones trends, and then Zappy comes in, and I don't have Zappy trends. And you got Jordan Love at Green Bay. I got to get Jordan Love trends. Oh, shit, Harbaugh's now at San Diego. I got Herbert trends, but I don't have Harbaugh trends. And Michigan, well, I don't even do college trends anymore. This is why I switched. See, to be stoic and to be INFJ, you have to realize when things work and when things stop working. And that's critical, and that's what I do so well. That's how I can win in football every year, right? It's realizing that my trends don't work because of all the changes, right? And switching, and I was able to figure out what will work no matter what. All of a sudden, it's the offense, defense, and the quarterbacks. And now I realize, well, fuck, the Lions are an over team. Now I look at it from a whole different perspective. Before I would tend to trend the Lions. How were they as a road dog or home favorite? And, they sucked as a road dog. But now I can't do it, but I can see they score a lot of points and they give up a lot of points. They're an over. So's Miami. So's San Diego. Pittsburgh, they don't score good defense. They're an under. And so now you start coming into a whole new realm that now takes everything away. It doesn't matter if Brady's there or was there and is not there anymore. Now it becomes a much easier way to analyze football, but I had to stumble and figure it out because I was using trends, and the trends worked, and they worked very good. But now it's such mishmash, the trends won't work because of all these adjustments. So new coaches, fuck. Look at New England. What do I do with Jared Mayo? They won't win 5 games this year. And then you've got who's their quarterback. So whoever they get Caleb. Well, I don't know. I got to do trends. And that's the problem. But like Caleb will be an over because he can score. Then it's how good's their defense. They might be an A team. They might not. Caleb might suck. We'll get to give Caleb 4 or 5 games. See, and then they're playing Caleb right away. They don't give them, 6 to 8 games to get adjusted to the NFL, right? They don't give Bo Nix or Penix or whoever is going to come up. They throw him in right now. Look at Richardson, C.J. Stroud. He should never have played this year. And who's the other guy? Steve Young at Carolina. He should never have played this year. He sucked. So now is he any good? No, he sucks. So him we know sucks. C.J. Stroud, some guys in Houston think he's good, but I don't, judging by the Baltimore game. Now, will he get better this year? He should get better this year. And maybe he'll turn into a good quarterback that we can bet on against Baltimore in a playoff game. Right now we can't. He doesn't have enough, quality. We can see, we got Josh Allen. We know Lamar chokes. We know Goff chokes. Stafford's pretty good. Russell Wilson, we're trying to figure out. So that's why week 1 next year, it's bet Mahomes and bet if Aaron Rodgers is playing, and we can bet on Josh Allen and Lamar in a regular season game against Houston, we can probably bet on. I don't think we can take him over Joe. Joe Burrow was killing him, and he got hurt in the game. I would not bet Lamar over Burrow, over Rodgers. I'm not sure over Josh Allen. But as these new guys come in, they're throwing them right in. Why is Carolina playing Young? I mean, what are they, crazy? And he sucked. What's he going to do this year? He's going to suck. So have you figured out he's no good, or do you think, give him a couple years? Josh Herbert didn't need any years. Russell Wilson was good right away. Aaron Rodgers, well, he sat because of Favre, and you get Brady was okay. He didn't really play much the first year till the injury. I think you sit the guy out 6 to 8 games. I don't think there's a hurry to get him in there. I don't think it matters. I think it hurts the guy. Like Young this year is going to be terrible because he doesn't know what he's doing. Did he learn anything by getting him out there? No. And then you see these shitty quarterbacks out there, Blaine Gabbert, he sucks. He's always sucked. And what are you playing him for? So, you know what you got with Mayfield. You know what you got with Goff. They're not really good. They're okay. Rudolph, Pittsburgh's quarterbacks, they need one. Pittsburgh's the one that should really trade up with their defense, and they can run the ball. They would, you give them you give them Bo Nix or Penix, and they'd be right back in the Super Bowl. That's what Pittsburgh needs, right? It's like when they drafted Stallworth and Swan. All of a sudden, they're in the Super Bowl every year. And that's what you need, Stabler, Oakland. Once you get that guy, they had LaMonica who could throw it deep, a lot of interceptions. You didn't win anything with them. And as soon as you bring in Stabler, all of a sudden you win a Super Bowl. You beat Miami in a playoff game that LaMonica never would have. So it just shows you, but you need the balance too. One thing with the Dolphins, they had Zonka and Kick, and they had Warfield, and Greasy was good enough, and the great defense. That's the formula. And I don't know, it's not hard. And then teams are going to this passing team like Miami. Wow, let's get Tyreek Hill to go with Waddle, and we'll get 15 more receivers. Yeah, but you don't have a running game. You don't have a defense. What the fuck are you doing? You need the running game and you need the defense. That's more important than the passing. That's all they had was Warfield, right? That was it. Zonka kick and Warfield and this killer defense. Anyway, so that's what you realize in trends. So if you don't think this is going to go over $50 because it hasn't, because it's been held down by COMEX, then you're missing the boat. It will go because it's a new trend now. It's not being held down by COMEX. It's free, and the demand is huge, and nobody wants to sell it at spot. So look for the spot to go. Give it another month, if that, maybe not. People are going to want their silver, and nobody's going to sell it to them at this ridiculously low. See, they're starting to realize that $25 is not the right price. So they're slowly waking up going, shit, it's all sold out. We should be raising the price. And they'll sell it out at 50 an ounce and 100 an ounce. And that's what we need, is to get the free market involved and get these idiots who run the mines to realize $25 is not a good price, but it's probably mafia and stuff holding it down. But you can only hold it down so long, because then the Russian and Chinese mafia come in, and the Saudis and the Arab mafias, and all of a sudden you're like, okay, yeah, I guess we can't hold it down. And don't forget, every country's got a mafia. It's part of having a country, right? The Don Corleones are available everywhere. So now that we have the sufficient demand to raise the price and we got COMEX out, you won't see 50 again. But because of COMEX, that's why. So you've changed the variables. You got Brady out. Let's not use the Brady variables at New England. Moving forward, we now have Matt Jones variables, and he's gone. So now we got Zappy, and whoever they get will need new variables. But if we can just see if he's a good quarterback or not, and they can score a lot, and how good's their defense, I mean, New England's gonna suck. They might be the worst team in the league with Mayo. Who's their quarterback? Who are they even drafting? They have no running. They have no receivers, and they have really no defense. It was kind of Belichick playing a little chess with it. They're fucked. And then they got like 25 coaches. Oh, they got assistant to the GM and an assistant to the offensive coordinator. He's got an assistant. And what are they? You got to have a leader, right? It'd be like the right guard calling plays and the left tackle calling plays. No. You need the quarterback to get the huddle. I'm taking charge. You need the take charge guy. And they won't, this is going to be interesting. There's so many fucked up GMs in the league now. Here's a draft that you got 7 really good quarterbacks, not including Drake May. Again, Penix, Nix, and Daniels. And then we've got Hartman, and then we've got, I don't know who else is in the mix. The kid from Tulane was very good, and Caleb, and we'll see who else is out there. You probably have 6 or 7 really good ones. Not Drake May. He's not a really good one. Drake May is a waste of time. He's got a good arm and he's physical. Yeah, okay, but what does he know what team to throw it to? I don't think he does. He threw a lot of 50-50 balls that he had a good receiver. That's not going to work in the NFL. Throwing the ball up in the air and hoping your guy gets it is not – I don't care what kind of arm you have, you're an idiot. So that's what's going to hurt. Drake May is not even in the conversation. But you have a lot of teams. I mean, if we go down the list of teams – let's have some fun today. It's always a football day. So let's go down the list of teams. So we start with the Jets, got Aaron Rodgers, at least for another year. Cleveland, they ended up with Flacco. They have Thompson Robinson. He's good. Watson, forget about him. He's terrible. Detroit with Goff and Dallas with Prescott. I will tell you, need different quarterbacks. These are not good quarterbacks. They're good in a shitty league. Goff is nothing. That's why the Rams gave him away. And Prescott, we know his problems. So they both need quarterbacks. New England and Buffalo, Zappe against Allen. Okay, Zappe I like. Is he the starter? And then Josh Allen, of course, is fine. Then we got Atlanta, Heineken against Chicago Fields. They both need quarterbacks. Can they trade Fields? Who wants him? The guy's not very good. Why would I trade for him? I'd be better off getting Bo Nix. Then you got Oakland and Indy. O'Connell against Minshew. Minshew's okay. He's no Daniels. He's no Hartman. He's not at that caliber. And O'Connell, where are you getting O'Connell from Purdue, who sucked at Purdue, and he's your quarterback? So you need to get, both teams kind of, well, they got Richardson, how good's Richardson? He's not very good. He doesn't know how to slide. All he can do is run. He's not a good quarterback. The problem with the running quarterback like Richardson is you get to the 20-yard line, you're in the red zone, you can't run because the secondary has nowhere to go, right? So they stand at the goal line and you run, and by the time you get to the 10-yard line, they're at the 10-yard line. And if you don't know how to slide, and once you're at the 10, you have no room at all to run. So a running quarterback is useless really in the red zone. That's why you need a passing quarterback. Stafford against DeVito or Tyrod Taylor or Jones. Giants need a quarterback, but they paid Jones all this guaranteed money. They're out of their fucking, they don't even know what they're doing, right? Oh, yeah, he's a running quarterback, so that'll solve everything. Oh, he got hurt again. And that's the problem with the running quarterback. They get hurt, they're gone. But you need a throwing quarterback. So Stafford's fine, but the Giants need a quarterback. Arizona, Philly, Kyler Murray and Hurts. Kyler Murray, he's okay. Hurts, you saw what Hurts happened to him. As soon as they blitzed him, he was gone. He can't read a defense. He's got a decent arm, but he wants to run. The offensive coordinator sucks, so we're going to get, a new offensive coordinator at Philly? And maybe he'll be good. Why did you let your other one go? Why don't these teams that get into the Super Bowl reward their coordinators like Kansas City gave Spagnuolo a raise and he stayed. And now they don't have to go through finding a new defense. Year you won the fucking Super Bowl or Philadelphia lost it. Why would you rebuild? So now you get rid of your coordinators. And now you got to go find new ones, which apparently they weren't able to do. And then Philadelphia sucks this year. They go from 10-1 to 10-7, really? And what are they going to do next year? Are they going to win 5 games? I mean, because everybody figured out just blitz Hurts, which is what I tell you to do with all the running quarterbacks. Just blitz them. See, if you just rush 3, they're going to juke you around. But if you rush 6, they can't read it. They don't know where to go with the ball. They're not Mahomes or Burrow. And they're going to just run around and you sack them. Look at Lamar against Houston in the first half. Houston blitzed them. Lamar looked like shit. They harassed them and they kept them and they sacked them. And then they stopped doing it in the second half for some reason. Another bright move by their coach. And then Lamar got going. But if you just kept blitzing him, Baltimore wasn't going to do anything. He can't read it. He doesn't know what to do with the blitz. He's not a quarterback. This is what I keep harping on. New Orleans, Tampa, Carr and Mayfield. Carr's okay. I prefer Hayner. Mayfield's okay. I prefer Trask. I think they're both better in the long run. Frisco, Washington, Purdy's fine. Thurston Howell III. Are you kidding me? He's going to be – you got Trubisky from North Carolina, Howell from North Carolina, and here comes Drake May from North Carolina. Is going to be the same shit that these guys are. Howell definitely got to get rid of. Carolina, Young against Jacksonville was Lawrence. Young's terrible. Lawrence is not very good. Again, he likes to run. He can't really throw that well. And, yeah, okay, he hits the 20-yard play, and they get a 20-yard gain. I get it, and that's why you guys think he's a good quarterback because he can hit a wide-open guy in the NFL. Unbelievable because they all like to play the 2 deep zones now. But he's not where did they go? They didn't even win their division with Indy, Houston, and Tennessee, and they couldn't win their division. Miami and Baltimore, Tag and Lamar. We know what Tag is choke. He's like Goff. Lamar is like Jalen Hurts. You're not going to win in the playoffs with Lamar, okay? Well, Tennessee, Levis against Houston. Stroud, Levis is no good. Stroud, I don't think he's going to be any good. You guys love him. Yeah, he did a lot against Baltimore. So that's really the test. When you're in the playoffs against a good defense, they got 3 points. You got 7 on a punt return. This is what you have. I mean, they're not in the same league. Pittsburgh, Seattle, Geno Smith, not very good. And what did you have? Pickett and Rudolph for Pittsburgh. They need a quarterback. San Diego, you have Herbert against Denver. I don't know. Russell Wilson's gone. Stidham's not the answer. Herbert's good. Cincinnati, Burrow against KC, Mahomes. That would have been a great game. Mahomes, KC won 25-17. Oh, I had a lock on Kansas City, and I had the under. No, I had the lock under. Wow, that was pretty good there. Once I figured out KC was an under team. Great defense. And anyway, so Burrow against Mahomes, I would have locked the dog. The dog was good anyway. They won 25-17, but I would have locked Burrow as the dog. But they're fine. They don't need anything. And Green Bay, Love against Minnesota. Mullins. I mean, so all the questions, where's Cousins going? And Love, we're not sure of. Okay, played 1 year. They looked pretty good beating Dallas and beating the Niners. So, okay, he might be the answer. He's playing like the 3rd year at Utah State, not the 4th year at Utah State. He was great the 3rd year. I was recommending him, but the 4th year, he was terrible. Okay, so let's say Green Bay's okay with Love. Minnesota needs a quarterback. Cousins isn't the answer. Is Mullins the answer? He had some big games. He had 400 yards against the Lions and 4 picks. But it was all Jefferson saving the day. So Minnesota, they could use Daniels or Nix or Penix. Problem is you got 5 quarterbacks that'll really impact you. Nix, Penix, Daniels, Caleb, and Hartman. That's all you have. About 5 good quarterbacks. So then the question is, what are you going to do with, all right, Goff, they should trade. Prescott, you can pick up. They should trade him. Josh Allen's good. Fields, are you going to trade for him? Minshew's not bad. Stafford's good. So let's see teams needing quarterback. The Jets, Cleveland, Detroit, Dallas, New England, Atlanta, Chicago, Oakland, the Giants, Philly will leave alone. New Orleans and Tampa are okay with their backups. Purdy, Washington is 10. Carolina, Jacksonville, Tennessee, Pittsburgh, Seattle, 15. Denver is 16. And Minnesota. So 17 teams needed a new quarterback. There's only 5. So then you're looking at, do Goff and Prescott get traded? Fields. Okay, they need a quarterback. Are you stupid enough to pick up Fields? Do you want O'Connell? No. You don't want anybody at New York. Hurts and Murray, I didn't take out of the loop, but I think you need Hurts isn't the answer. Howell, nobody's picking him up. Young, nobody would pick him up. Jacksonville, Lawrence, can you trade him? Tag and Lamar, I mean, you just signed Lamar to a 100-year contract. Tagliabue, he loses every big game. I don't know what you see in the guy. Tennessee, Levis, are you going to want him? No. Stroud? No. Pittsburgh, Rudolph. or Pickett, no. Geno Smith, backup at best. Herbert, I don't know what, Russell Wilson's out there. Okay, yeah, I can live with him. Cincinnati, Mahomes, no. Love, and then what? Nick Mullins from Minnesota, you're going to pick up? And then Kirk Cousins you can pick up. So let's see what's out there. Goff and Prescott. I don't know about Fields, but let's say. And then Trevor Lawrence and maybe a Geno Smith and that. So you got 5 quarterbacks that you could trade for, right? None of them are any good. Goff and Prescott and Fields. I mean, you're just getting somebody's dirty laundry. So really, what are you going with that? And this is the problem with the league. You got such bad quarterbacks. And then you got Stenson Benson sitting there on LA, who apparently has alcohol issues, according to Nick. I don't know. Then you've got Trask sitting at back up at Tampa, who's better than Mayfield. What are we waiting for? You got some good backups, and then you got this shit. You got Stick and Stidham and Browning and Hall and Stroud and Levis and Beathard and Lawrence, Howell, Danny DeVito, O'Connell, maybe Minshew's okay, Fields and Heineken and Zappi. I mean, Trevor Siemian or whoever on the Jets and Flacco, who's 50 years old. Maybe Thompson Robinson's okay. He's a first-round pick, or he's a draft pick you just did. So this is the problem. You got a mess, and if you think Fields is going to clean you up, you're out of your mind. So here comes Chicago. Let's say they draft Caleb, which I think is a mistake. I would draft Daniel. If I got Caleb, I would want Daniels instead. If I need a running quarterback, because Chicago's kind of a running quarterback offense, I draft him. Somebody said, well, they can take Marvin Harrison Jr. and Stenson Benson and my tight end, Brock Bowers. I'm sorry, you still got Fields throwing the ball. So what? You need 2 star receivers and a star tight end to make your quarterback look good? Tom Brady never had any of that, and he's supposedly the GOAT. Although Joe Montana, his first year had Freddie Solomon and Dwight Clark. And then he gets Rice in 86. So he wins 2 Super Bowls with nobody at receiver. So you're telling me Tagliabue needs Waddle and whatchamacallit, Tyreek Hill, and, oh, wait, we got to get Fields. We got to get him 2 receivers. Well, the problem with that is you're spending a lot on your receivers. You still have a shit defense, and you still need a running back. This is the problem with loading up on receivers because you shouldn't need to. All these guys are pros. Get the kid out of San Diego State or get the kid from Oklahoma or Texas or Texas Tech or Duke or, Florida State or, Alabama, Auburn, Georgia. I mean, there's plenty of colleges to get a good receiver without getting Marvin Harrison Jr. and costing you a fortune. You don't want that. That's not. You don't have that luxury of blowing a lot of money on a wide receiver. I mean, look at Miami. They have no defense. So they got Tyreek Hill, and they got Waddle. Waddle they don't need. And then they got Mozart. Okay, he's a good running back. You're going to have to pay Tagliabue, and you're paying Tyreek Hill $30 million. There goes your defense. There goes your offensive line, and good luck trying to win. You have to stack up like San Francisco. They don't have to pay Purdy. They pay McCaffrey. They don't really pay Debo that big $30 million Tyreek Hill money. And then they pay their defense, Boza and Warner and Greenlaw and those guys they're paying. And look what they do. Or Kansas City. They pay Mahomes, Kelsey, and Pacheco doesn't get anything. Rice is a rookie. Their offensive line's okay, and then their defense, they've got the stud defensive tackle, and then the corners are great. They're both rookies or second-year guys, so they're not cost. See, that's the only way to do it. You cannot have Mahomes and then have Tyreek Hill for $30 million. You can't have two, because you've got you've got not only the defense, but you've got the replacements. So when your offensive lineman goes down, are you going to have $100,000 offensive lineman in his place, or a $3 or $4 million offensive lineman in his? Because you need 7 or 8 offensive linemen. There's injuries. That's why you can't blow your money on one player. So if Chicago thinks they're going to have Marvin Harrison is going to cost them a ton, and Brock Bowers, he's going to cost you a boatload also, because he's the best tight end in the game. He'll make Kelsey look like nothing. So this is what you have. And I'm praying he goes to Cincinnati, Brock Bowers, to play with Chase and Burrow. That would be beautiful. So we will see what happens. And then that's how we adjust the teams. Then that's how we know what the team is. So with that said, the need for now, the Jets, if Aaron Rodgers plays, so they could plug him in, Cleveland, Thompson Robinson. Okay, but you can see their injuries, right? Detroit has Hooker. They can go to him. And Dallas has nobody. New England has Zappy. Buffalo with Allen, okay. Atlanta has nobody. And Chicago's got nobody. And Oakland, the Garoppolo, he's useless. Indy, what are they going to go to Richardson? And like he's any better? They're better off with Minshew. LA with Stafford, and they got Stenson Benson. And then Indy, and then the Giants have nothing. Even if they go to Daniel Jones, he's terrible. Tyrod Taylor's better. Danny DeVito. Arizona with Murray's okay. And then Philly with Hurts. I don't know. I mean, he lost his last 6. I don't really see. Although a lot of it was their defense sucked. So they got to get rid of Matt Patricia. My God. New Orleans with the Carr. I'd rather see Hainer out there. And then Tampa with Mayfield, trash, but they're okay, pretty even. Purdy's good. And then Washington with Howell, you're in big trouble. So Washington, I think, has an early draft pick. They should be able to get one of the 5 quarterbacks. Carolina, I mean, you got to get rid of Steve Young. He's just horrible. Jacksonville needs to get rid of Lawrence, like Dallas needs to get rid of Prescott, and Detroit needs to get rid of Goff. But they won't. Because he's the first pick overall, then we couldn't make a mistake. And this is the problem. He's not a good quarterback. Miami with Tag, what are you going to do? You're fucked. And Baltimore with Lamar, you just signed to a 5-year deal. You're fucked there. Tennessee, if they think Levis is the answer, they're out of their minds. And then Houston with Stroud, they're going to be just sorry. He's not that good, but he hit the guy open for 20 yards when they're in a zone. Yeah. And how did he do near the end zone? So, yeah, it's fool's gold. They think he's good, and he's not. Pittsburgh, God knows they need a quarterback, but they don't draft him. I don't know what their problem is. Seattle got to get better than Geno Smith. It's funny. They went to the Washington offensive coordinator, Washington College offensive coordinator, their head coach. Because the problem is the head coach is the offensive coordinator at Washington, not the offensive coordinator. So it's a real I don't know that you can bring him in and he knows the pro game and he's going to run it. I think that was a terrible hire. If anything, I could have seen them hire DeBoer away from Washington, but now he's at Alabama. I think Alabama will be fine. Probably better with DeBoer than with Saban. Saban, the game passed him by. DeBoer, look what he did with Penix, right? Maybe if Seattle gets a chance, they can draft Penix, but they'd have to move up. That would be a good thing because he knows Penix would know the offense. San Diego's fine. Denver, what do they do with Russell Wilson? He's apparently gone. They need a quarterback. Stidham isn't the answer. And who's going to pick up Russell Wilson? Cincinnati and KC are fine. Green Bay's fine. And then Minnesota, Kirk Cousins. You got Jefferson, you better bring in a quarterback for Jefferson, right? So that's where we're at. And then you can clearly see why teams are better than others, right? So it's very obvious. We got Mahomes and Kelsey, and we got a good running back and a good defense. And we won the Super Bowl. Then you look at teams like Philadelphia, Detroit, Miami, no defense. And see, that's the difference. So you need the defense. So what's a real good defensive team? Dallas, but they're sitting there. They have no running back, and they're really a bad quarterback. So all Dallas needs to do is draft a Daniels or a Bo Nix, get any running back, get the kid from Oak State, and they'd win the Super Bowl. But they don't know what they're doing. They think Dak's the answer. And that's the point. Dak's not the answer. Trevor Lawrence isn't the answer. Tagovailoa is not the answer. Lamar is not the answer. But they don't want to admit they're wrong. It's the same thing with us. Nobody wants to admit, oh, it'll never go to $50 again. Well, the variables have changed. COMEX is broken. There's too much demand for it. Yes, it will go past 50, but people can't change the dynamic and understand what's happening, so they won't see that the silver is worth more. They can't comprehend gold being over 2,000. Because I'm a critical thinker and very analytical, I can see, oh, but it's been held down, and now that Brics is gone, Brics is coming in, getting rid of COMEX. That's the variable change that we've been waiting for that will raise the value of it. Now we've got competition. Brady's gone out of New England. Now we start betting Buffalo with Josh Allen, or the Jets because they got Aaron Rodgers and the killer defense. Or we bet KC because now Mahomes is there and Alex Smith is gone. Or San Diego, now they got Harbaugh and Herbert's good and Keenan Allen, and they got Bosa. And Frisco, now they got Purdy, and he looks really good. Okay. And that's the trend. That's everything changing, the dynamics. But for some reason, people see, this is where I get the breakout of analyzing football games, which is impossible to do, and poker, which is impossible to do, bringing in the gold and silver. And that is really the key difference, because now I can bring that mindset in and go, and then I can still bring in the mindset to football going, now here's how we pick winners. Now we look at teams over and unders. We look at A's and Z's and we go, this works. And we saw that it worked. You know, I'll never forget, one guy bought from me, and it was like week 3 or 4, and I didn't do good because I was fooled by a couple of teams still using last year's because I didn't have this year's. And I think he wanted a refund. I says, well, no, you got to play me for the whole. You can't look at one pick and go, oh, you lost. And I said, you got to look at the whole scheme. Just talk to me when the season's over. And he never bought again. And I'm up 140,000. What is that? 140,000 units probably. He'd have made a fortune, but he doesn't understand. He thinks, oh, you lost the game. Oh, you don't know what you're doing. And that's where I kind of go, do you watch the videos? Did you watch my playoffs going 13-1? Did you have Kansas City against Buffalo, Baltimore, and against San Francisco? Like, that's me. But then I know the teams. That's why I always win. I know the teams. I might have a couple of bad weeks in the beginning because I'm fooled, right? I think, I don't know how to play the Jets with Rodgers. If he plays, I don't, Pittsburgh and the Rams didn't have Stafford. So there's teams that you're guessing. Pittsburgh, what do I do with them? Pickett, I remember losing a game with the Rams against Pittsburgh. Pickett had a big day. He threw for like 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, and Pittsburgh won the game. And I'm like, I'm shaking my head. So then I got Jacksonville, and Pittsburgh's a home dog, and I bet Pitt. And he gets hurt in the game, and that's it. And I lose because Pickett gets hurt in the second quarter with his ankle. And you're like, okay. And that's really what it is. And then I get off of Pittsburgh and off of Jacksonville. And then it's like, let's just bet Mahomes. And then I lost Joe Burrow, which hurt. Once I got a few weeks in and done, then I was okay, lights out, especially the last 7-8 weeks. But that's what we're looking at is adjusting to the variables that are out there. So yes, $2,000 an ounce silver is very possible based on demand, based on the dollar going out. See, now the new variable is the dollar's worthless. And the new variable is nobody wants it, and everybody's going on the Brics gold, which makes gold and silver go up. That's a whole new game that hadn't been there. Wasn't there in 2008. Really, it just started the last few years where people are getting, you sanction Russia and everybody's getting the hell out of it. So that's really what's happening. You've sanctioned Russia, people are scared, they're getting out of the dollar. Here comes gold. Everybody's buying gold in the BRICS world. China and Russia are too big for the U.S. to handle. Here comes India and Saudi Arabia, all the oil. Nothing the U.S. can do. The U.S.'s military is depleted. It's a whole new analysis. Tom Brady ain't on New England. And that's really where I go with it, because people, well, silver doesn't get over $50 an ounce. It just sits there. Yeah, because of COMEX, but they just broke COMEX and ran to Bitcoin because of all this gold and silver buying that's being done. COMEX knows it's going to lose, so they get into Bitcoin. Because nobody wants Bitcoin, really. Nobody should want it. They do because they don't know what they're talking about. Let's put it this way. Bitcoin's Lamar and gold's Mahomes. And we're all in Mahomes because he wins all the Super Bowls. And we're not in Lamar, even though they hype Lamar up. Oh, Lamar's this and that. But we realize Lamar doesn't win any games, but Mahomes does. Gold is Mahomes. And Bitcoin's Lamar. It's all talk, but no reality. And that's what we understand. So that's really how we analyze things. Then you be stoic. Stoic is about, we know Mahomes, we're going to bet Mahomes over Lamar. We don't care, oh, Lamar this and Lamar that. And we sit there and we bet Mahomes. And we stick to our guns. I'm betting Mahomes. Oh, Super Bowl, I'm betting Mahomes. And we keep winning with Mahomes because we are not stubborn, but we understand he's the gold standard. We want to, the only one who's going to beat Mahomes is Burrow, and he's not in it. So we know we're going to keep betting Mahomes. We know we're going to keep betting gold and silver. We're not going to get into Bitcoin. Bitcoin to me is Lamar. It looks pretty, but it doesn't work when the pressure's on. And that's how Bitcoin is. It's not money. So when we look at what is money, it's not acceptable. We don't know what the value is. It's not a store of wealth because we don't know what it's worth. But we know gold and silver are going up, and we know they have a value, and we know they're money, and we know everybody will accept them. So therefore, it's much easier. I mean, if anything, this is worthless. So everybody will sit in this thinking it's a store of wealth, is out of their freaking minds. There's no wealth in the dollar or the euro or the pound or the Swiss franc. All the wealth is in silver and gold. So but you've got to understand how the game played. And we understand the game. We understand silver and gold are going through the roof and everybody wants it, and all the big players, the central banks are buying. They're not buying Bitcoin. Why aren't they? Why aren't they buying Bitcoin? Why are they buying silver and gold? Because they know that's Mahomes, right? So we're going to play Mahomes, silver and gold, and off we go. So you stay away from you go with what you know. You don't get sidetracked into Lamar. You don't go into Bitcoin because it's not money. I can't go to the restaurant and use Bitcoin, but I can go to the restaurant and give them that, and they will take it, and I can eat. And that's now. And I'd be an idiot to do it because this is only worth 25 now, on its way to 2,000. And even at 2,000, I'm going to take these 10 ounces and I'm going to go to the coin store and say, here you go. I want an ounce of gold. And I will get an ounce of gold for my 10 ounces. So this cost me $255 today. And I'm going to turn it into a $30,000 ounce of gold, or whatever it's worth at the time. It could be worth a lot more if it's still if dollars are still there. But that's the point. That go beat that return on investment. So this isn't an investment. I'm not going to make money on it, but this is where I argue with Alligator and Mark and Egon that this is very much an investment. This is bought at a low price, and the price will go up. And I'm going to turn it into an ounce of gold 20 times more than it is now. And but that I think like that. They don't see it, that it's being manipulated down. They do, but sometimes they just say, oh, it's the dollar going down. Yeah, well, the dollar ain't going down anymore. It's at zero. There is no more dollar going down. It's dollar going out, not dollar going down. But anyway, so that's my outlook. The NFL drafts April something, so we got 2 months. And the problem is these GMs have no idea the value of their quarterbacks. Here's Fields, right? And here's Mahomes and Burrow, and here's Fields. Here's Lamar. Here's Tagovailoa, and they will, Trevor Lawrence, Jones on the Giants, whoever's on New England, whoever's on Pittsburgh. This is these guys. You got to get rid of all of them. You need this for those guys. So you got the top 5 draft picks, and then you add Russell Wilson, maybe Kirk Cousins. You got to get Stenson Benson and Hooker involved. If the Lions don't want to use Hooker, and I would trade for him. Anybody that puts up 50 points on Alabama, what do you think? He's not good? That was a fluke? I mean, come on. He put up 50 points on Alabama, and you're not going to take him? What's wrong with the guy? He puts up 50 on Alabama, and there's a problem with him? I don't know what you look for then. If that's not what you use as a criteria of, is he a good quarterback? I don't know what you like. Where's Drake May? What did he put up 50 on what? Pitt? No. Duke? No. Miami? No. What are we looking at here? At what point are we like, what are we looking at in Drake May that we think he's good? Because I don't see it. I don't see anything that he's good at all. I wouldn't draft him. I probably wouldn't draft him at all. Maybe in the 5th or 6th round, and he's a backup at best. He's going to be Pickett and Howell, right? There's no difference. It's the way the offense is made, but it's Pickett, it's Howell, it's Trubisky. They love Trubisky, and I was like, why? What did he do? What did Howell do that these guys are in the NFL? What, did they go to the Peyton Manning quarterback camp, and that's why you're picking them? So I don't see that. Anyway, so you see Mark McGuire. COMEX is going to Bitcoin and leaving our gold and silver. And silver, they're not selling the silver at premium at 25 an ounce anymore at spot. They want more. And you can't find it anywhere. So look out. Here it comes, which we've been waiting for. And there's no question about it. Anyway, so 2 hours, not bad on a Saturday. Have a good day. I'll probably get Chinese during the week, I guess. There's no reason. I got to cook hamburgers and have a salad. That's fine. Tomorrow I can go get barbecue if I want, or chicken or whatever. But yeah, no need. Like I said, Chinese, it's not open on Sundays. That's why I go Saturdays, but I can go during the week. It's not a big deal. But anyway, so that's it. go enjoy your night, Saturday night. Here it's 30 degrees. It's been 60 the whole week. And then today I went out like this and it was 29 degrees out and I didn't care. I got my gold and silver. So I'm going to go play with my gold and silver. And I love getting new members of the family. That's what I tell Daria. I go, I got some new guys for the family. And she likes them. She knows what they are. See, that's why I believe Daria is not fucking around with me, because she knows what she gets, and I'm very good to her. So she hates Russian men, she keeps telling me. So I'm like, what are we waiting for? Okay, the war, but we can meet in Turkey. What are we waiting for? So we will see. Anyway, GM, I submitted last week, so hopefully this week. I worked there twice, and hopefully I got references there that they'll look at me going, yeah, let's take him. He's worked here and he's got references, so we know he's good. That's all really you're worried about. When you're hiring somebody, it's, can they work out? Well, if he's already worked here and he did work out, then that question's answered. So that's a lot. That's kind of what they do in the NFL. Like, that's why they played some of these losers, is because they have experience. That's why they don't play hooker. Well, Goff's got experience, hooker doesn't. So we'll play Goff. We know what we got. We know he's a choker, but we don't know what we got in hooker, even though we'll ignore that Alabama game. Then why'd you draft him? So I'm just the best thing in them lines is Goff gets hurt. They got to throw hooker in. He'll light it up, and then they'll go, oh, yeah, I guess we probably should have played hooker. It's always because they're terrible coaches, and they go, well, he's got experience, so we'll play him, versus the guy who's much better, like Tom Brady. And you're wondering, well, why didn't they play Brady? Why didn't they play, why aren't they, even Purdy? Why didn't they play Purdy? They start with Garoppolo, and then Trey Lance is playing, and then here's Purdy going, what the fuck? So that's what happens. The coaches are really insecure, and instead of just, he's got the talent, let's play him, he's played before. It's really, we don't know what we've got, so let's not play him, and then we wonder why we lose. The good coaches know what they got and play them. All right, everybody, I guess that's about it. www.teaserking.com, although you can see my history, but there's obviously no picks, no games. And we'll get into history tomorrow. So I watched there's one Stoic one that it was a good one. I'm not going to go through it now. So there's one more. Do this when you feel down. 12 Stoic remedies for feeling lonely and depressed. And it's really a good one because it's 22 minutes. It's 12 things. It's mostly, there's nothing really critical. It's just like, if you are that, go out and do exercise. So the biggest thing I got out of it is go do exercises out of it. So in other words, instead of feeling sorry for yourself, I'm alone, oh my God, you get up and you walk around and you go to the pool or just take a walk around, depending on if it's cold out or warm out, and you do that and you don't feel sorry for yourself, because we know we've been with people that, we don't like, we get divorced or we got, vampiring us and stuff like that. So we know that. So therefore, it's not that you're with people. So it's got to be you're with yourself. You got to find the person you want to be with. And that's, who you want. And then you've got that Stoic person and that Stoic relationship. And then you're not really lonely, but you have to understand it, and it takes time to actually get it. So that's what you're really looking for, is the other Stoic person to have the relationship with. And you get all these non-Stoic people around you, and the relationship never works. And you end up getting divorced or, not calling them anymore because you shouldn't have been friends with them in the first place because they weren't stoic. Now you realize you want stoic people, and that's what you want, and that's who you should be friends. And then you don't have to worry. You wouldn't be lonely and you wouldn't be depressed, and you'd have a good stoic person, and then that's what you're looking for. So there'll be little things in here like, well, this is when like why a person's alone, because he's looking for a stoic person to be with, and he's getting vampired all over the place, and he's like, I don't want to be with these guys, and then he's waiting to meet his stoic. So I think Jenna and Daria are stoic. I know Jenna is. Daria, I believe, is. She's just scared, I guess. I don't know what we're waiting for. It's all on her shoulders, but I feel good with her that she's not stoic. She's pretty good. There she is, stoic. All right, everybody. Well, I will see you tomorrow. Since I go into the coin store, I will probably do it 11 to 12 o'clock show and then go to the pool. And we'll go from there. All right. Have a good day. www.teaserking.com. Be stoic. Be INFJ. Just relax. Think, and you'll be fine. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a nice day.